Hello. How's it going? You might be muted. Hey. Can I rename myself from in here? Or do I have to do it on a laptop? I'm not seeing. I'm in the me. I can customize the avatar, and when I go to account, I can't edit anything. Okay.
Backdrop. Let me know when things are streaming and live, so I get out of the way. Oh,
Cool. I'm not sure if this is Tracy or not.
wait, you can hear me? Oh, you could hear me because of the stream.
Oh no, it's not. It's Odetta. Never mind. Odetta, I think you're on mute. Uh, you might be able to unmute yourself from the menu,
If they're
but
on
we can't
PC,
hear
they
you.
have to hit. If they're on PC, they have to hit Option or Control. Click somewhere on the screen, and you'll be able to see them. You'll be able to see the menu pop up.
Did we get the slides working or no?
I'm trying to do that right now.
Oh, got it. Like I said, it is a complete cherry on top. If not, it's not a
Also,
big deal.
yeah, we never discussed when those slides would actually go into effect.
At the very beginning, when I'm doing my talk,
Yeah.
ooh, that's fancy.
Mm-hmm. Whoops.
All right, I'm gonna pop out real quick. And is there a way to play background music?
You could play with your computer and use the, you know, just your, it'll be basically your voice.
Got it.
We should have thought of that earlier. I could have put that
Oh
on my
yeah, no, I was just curious
computer.
if there was an easy way to do it. there's there's Tracy. Hey, how's it going? Good. We had go ahead. Oh, we had one person in here. She got in early, but then she didn't come off mute and then she left.
Oh,
So he's
it's
trying
all
to
right.
get the slides working. If not, no big deal.
Yeah. Let's see.
But I'm gonna go do one final check on the email addresses.
Uh huh.
and then hit play on the live stream. So I'll be back in around like 5:05.
Okay, so I did ask like two of my friends. They were not able to see it under event interested, even though they registered the same email from Startup Grind and Allspace.
And they sent me their emails?
Yeah, so they registered on Startup Grind with the same
They
email.
needed to send me their emails.
Oh, they need to send you their emails.
Right.
I see.
I've sent multiple emails to all of the ticket holders that they need to send me their emails. I also pulled the list as of yesterday and auto imported them. But I would say
that's
get
the
on
case,
the horn.
then they should probably follow directions already. You know, like it's.
They should probably follow directions already.
Yeah.
But Tiffany on your team sent me her email address, her Voor email, but it's not associated with an account.
Yeah, she actually can't come in, but I think she's just, I don't know why she sent it, but I think she's just gonna watch it via YouTube.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
If you want to. So I have a question real quick. I'm going to read from my phone when I'm doing my intro. Will you look at me for a second? What's my head doing right now?
Looking up a little bit.
Okay, what about this?
Looking forward.
Okay, but like, does this look very weird?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's just like you're looking up.
Okay. Well,
are you trying to look through the nose, you know, the gap between your nose?
No, I actually have it sitting on my forehead.
Oh.
I have it resting on my forehead so that I can read my phone.
Okay. Okay.
And you can hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me fine?
I'll just do this when I'm doing the reading from my phone, and then it'll be okay.
Yep.
Okay.
We have some.
I'm going to step out real quick, and then I'll be back in a second.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right.
Hello. Oh, Taco Queen. Hi, Taco Queen. Hi. Oh, Data. Oh, Data, how are you? I think right now it's just networking right now. Okay. For the time being. Oh, Data. You're on your computer. I know you're on your computer. Can you hear me? Oh, through your the happy faces. Nope, I didn't see it. It didn't pop up. I wonder if I was like in the middle of coming to the world or something. Or is it on Facebook? Yeah, it was on Facebook. Gotcha.
Yeah, I didn't see you online a few minutes ago.
Anyway, now just networking session.
Yeah. So it's uploaded and it works on the Oculus now.
I fix it.
The world.
Awesome. We'll have to go check it out then once I'm done.
And I'm super stoked. So you know how like everything was like oversized? Well, everything is really, really oversized. I popped a kitchen in there.
Okay.
I found a model of a kitchen and I popped it in and I'm like, oh my god, everything it fits so perfectly.
Hello.
You're Tracy?
You guys, I heard somebody. Yes, I am.
Hi.
I am.
Nice to
I
meet you.
think it's networking
I'm Vanessa.
right now. Hey, Vanessa.
We had a couple email exchanges
A few weeks ago.
Yes, I remember. Thanks for coming. So you do have a headset too.
it's kind of crazy because like this is one like the first event I did in VR, and then when I spoke with people, it's like, oh, instead of seeing you here, seeing you there, it's like see your avatars there. Yeah. I've met like so many people in VR, and I've never met them in person, but I'm sure once I do, it'll be very shocking to see them. Yeah. What they look like outside of their avatar. Yeah. And carry like pictures of our avatars around, so I'm like, this is who I am. Yeah, this is me. It's not like in here, like people are just maybe in here they should actually have like a badge or something, and you can carry the real face around. Yeah. In real life. Right. I'm sure something like that is coming eventually. It's a matter of when. Yep. Let me go check on something real quick. I've seen a couple things on YouTube. I haven't actually watched the videos, but I think there might be
Hey, what's up?
people like hack
Hey, hey, what's up? Can you hear me fine?
I can hear you fine, yes.
Am I floating? I am floating. Hey.
You are floating.
I'm just trying to get everything situated, and the camera's ready, and it's rolling.
Yay, yay. And what is this? This is the this thing right here.
This is my controls. I'm gonna
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, only we
actually,
can see it, right?
no, I'm gonna move it out of existence. I just need it on so that way that big screen works.
My headset is like heavy on my face already. How am I gonna last an hour? It's crazy. I was on Clubhouse, and I think I was speaking to this one guy who had a job, like he literally had a job in VR, and that was his job. He was in a virtual environment, just greeting people. So he was wearing the headset for like 8 hours straight.
Really?
Yeah, I forgot what his name was. So like when he told people, like I had a job in VR, it doesn't mean like he's working in VR. Like he's literally inside VR working.
That actually sounds pretty fun, I think. I don't know how fun staring into really close screen, a screen like that close to your eyes will be for 8 hours, but at least you get paid to just sit down in your living room.
I know. He did say his vision got bad, like after a few months.
Oh,
so
really?
Yeah, so that is not good, I guess.
So I'm trying to see, can you guys see the backdrop over there, that big image?
Yeah.
Green.
I can see it, yeah.
Yeah, we see it.
Oh, okay. Strange that the feed can't see it. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to set this up and have it ready.
Let me go. Hey Roberto. So two of my friends can't get in. Is there a way that I can portal them in?
No, their emails need to be verified in the group. So we
In the
just
group.
need to, yeah, just tell them to send you either their username or the email that they used, and we can add that to the group, and then they'll see it in their interested events.
Okay. Send it to your email, or should we send it to Josh right now? Send it to you.
You can send it to Josh. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Let me see.
Unfortunately, I don't think this is gonna work with the streaming.
Hey, Tracy, they need to tell them to send their email to josh@startupgrind.com.
Got it. Yeah.
I'm looking now, and no one else has sent me any other updates. So, and we're running live too. So there's hello everyone viewing on YouTube. We're gonna get started in about 10 minutes with the talk. Sit back and relax. We're gonna have a good time. I can hear myself in the background. That's funny. Yeah. So tell your friends to send me their emails, and we'll get going.
Got it. Yep. I already told them. All right.
Wow, you're fast.
Where's
All right,
my
I'm gonna back out. Oh, what does my name say when you click on me?
It says Joshua Ness.
It doesn't say SGNYC.
No, it says Joshua Ness.
Damn.
It's my other hand.
What's up, guys? It's behind you.
Oh, damn. Okay. All right. Sorry, looking for my hand there. This doesn't happen in real life, I promise.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I love technology. Okay, I'll be right back.
I promise this doesn't happen in real life.
So what's going on, Ed? I see you're unmuted.
Not much. My first time here.
Awesome. You have a
Virtually.
headset.
Yeah. Yeah, I love my
great.
headset.
Yeah. This is your first time in Altspace.
Yes and no. Well, yes for groups. I've just kind of been introduced to it. So I've been exploring on my own different environments, but definitely going to be doing group things in Altspace.
Oh,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've only done group things. What do you mean not group things?
Well, I just signed up for Altspace honestly the other day, so like I'm gonna join events and stuff. So
yeah, this is gonna be the place, I think.
Yeah,
I think this is gonna be like as big as Facebook was. I think this is the next big thing.
You think so?
I think so. I think they have a head start.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think they have a head start that's big enough. And they just updated it too, so now there's even more features for users.
Yeah.
Did you see the updates yesterday?
I didn't update. I was actually afraid to update, and like whatever happened to Josh, what happened, I couldn't come in, and I would be effed. So I didn't update. I'll update after the event. But yeah, I mean, like I feel like VR is getting a lot bigger. Like thanks to Facebook lowering the price for Oculus, and Apple is also investing heavily in VR as well. So yeah,
Right.
I mean, like this is gonna get big, and like I mean, like right now, the barrier to entry, I mean, part of the biggest one is really the headset being so bulky and heavy on the face. Like I keep having to move it, but once it become like just another wearable, it would be people would be more inclined to, like just put it on and then, like hop in and see what's happening in here. And yeah.
Well,
And
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
I think
ahead.
I was gonna say right now the headset, but then you have to buy like the head strap that goes behind your head. Not use the stock stuff. So it's an extra expense to make it comfortable and balanced on your head. But I think once they like bring out the glasses version, in 5 to 10 years, when you could buy a pair of glasses and it'll be VR capable.
Hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, Scott. Yeah,
oh,
welcome in.
Good. Sorry, I had it inverse of muted. Sorry.
It's cool. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's when we're going to be able to, and it should be cheap enough too. So glasses that are cheap and light.
Yep. Yeah, and even just after Christmas, I've been seeing like an explosion of new users in, here in Allspace, because a lot of people all of a sudden found an Oculus under their tree for Christmas.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so it's pretty amazing. And you can do a lot more.
Yeah.
You can do a lot more in Allspace. I'm sorry, go ahead. I keep talking.
Oh, no.
over you.
I was just going to say, like, with the integration of AR and VR will make things more interesting in the near future.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
And cheaper.
Yeah. Especially if like what Roberto was saying, you can just buy lightweight glasses. That would be make things a lot better for people.
Hey, what's up? Oh, Odetta, welcome. Do you have headphones? Because when we speak, it's going to be echoed.
Oh, so do you hear me now?
Yeah, we could hear you fine. We could also
Oh
hear
my
ourselves when we
gosh.
speak.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, can you tell me how to unmute or mute myself? I mean, I have no idea what I did, but I cannot unmute, but now I am unmuted. So, but I was using my headphones, and it was not working.
Oh,
so,
interesting.
Yeah, so what should I press just to mute myself, but I would not cause any sound disturbances for you?
If you hit control and then click the screen anywhere with your mouse, you'll see the menu come up.
I can see it now. Okay, perfect, thank you. And hi Tracy, hi everyone.
Hi, Aldana.
Hi.
Oh, I
still hear echo.
There you go. That's good. If you have headphones, that's going to help, just because speakers are going to, feed back audio in and act as if you're speaking it.
Great. And I have both my hands. Okay, cool. I was looking for my hand earlier. I'm like,
Alrighty.
So why don't we do like a round of, waiting for Josh to come back in, I guess. What is it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, we won't be able to do the slides because the software isn't reading on the Mac. It's not reading the web projector, so we can't do the slides. Because the live feed, the live feed won't pick it up. So people watching on YouTube won't be able to see it.
I think it's fine. Yeah. Why don't, before Josh come back, why don't we do like a round of introducing ourselves and just networking, because I think the first 15 minutes we're supposed to network anyway, starting from.
Why don't we move into like the bar area?
Yeah.
Like, do you hear the events from the startup line, or do you hear elsewhere?
Yeah, I think I'm on the newsletter email list. That's how I usually find out about, events through startup grind.
And I'm thinking everyone is in New York. I think no, because
Yeah, I'm in
okay,
Brooklyn.
Aveda, you're not in New York. I know you're not in New York. Oh, somebody's on the floor over there.
I'm also
Yep.
not in New York.
Oh yeah, you're in.
Where's
Oh, I
Marissa?
forgot.
I'm in Germany.
Oh yeah, perfect timing. It's what time is it over there? So you're 6 hours ahead, right?
It's 11 o'clock. Yeah.
11 o'clock.
Hey, Zaylin.
Not too bad.
Zaylin?
What about you and Anita? Or Unicorn?
You're muted though.
Unicorn Oilers, yeah. Yeah, I'm in Ohio. So,
Ohio.
Good timing here.
Nice. Scott?
I'm in New York.
New York.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
I'm actually in Taipei right now, so I'm just starting my day in Taiwan.
Ah, nice. Good morning. You're actually the first one from Asia that I met in Allspace, because I've been meeting a lot of people here that, well, mostly in the U.S. and then from Europe, Germany. You're the first one in Taipei. Yeah. Nice. Nice. Lucy right here. You want to introduce yourself, Lucy?
Yeah, sure. I actually work with Tracy as an interim COO. I've worked at many startups in San Francisco before, and Tracy and I are very, very good friends from many, many moons ago. So that's how we got together, and hopefully to build this like awesome product.
And in terms of sustainability, she's the expert here. She's a sustainability consultant, advocate, and she has, her master's in sustainability management from Columbia.
Wow,
Yeah.
cool. I'm a sustainability data analyst.
There you go. Yep.
Do to do with VR. I'm curious. I'm a web developer and I do a lot of stuff with Mozilla Hub, WebSR.
Nice. Well, I mean, I'm gonna talk about it in a bit, but when we started Voor, it actually started with VR first, mobile VR. But then we eventually pivoted because like the industry that we're serving is a very traditional legacy industry, and sadly a lot of people have not heard of VR, and so like therefore the adoption was next to none. Yeah. But I mean, we still have that on the back burner right now. Eventually, I feel like VR is gonna become, it's just gonna become an extension of real life, of us in real life, and we'll probably have to carry, like Vanessa and I were like talking about, we'll probably have to carry a face of our avatar around when we're in real life, and and in VR, we'll probably have to carry our real face around, and be like, hey, this is me in real life. Like.
All right, we ready to get started?
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
Oh, Josh, I gotta tell you, the sliders didn't work for the streaming projector, so I
Yep.
just set up the image.
Okay, no sweat. Thanks for trying. I appreciate it.
No worries.
To answer your question, I'm working on developing it.
All right. If you all want to join us in on the stage, we'll start it. All right. Hey, everyone on YouTube watching the live. Good to see you. Crap! I need to go turn off my laptop.
Hello. Okay, Josh needs to turn off something first. I guess before we start, we have to follow CDC guideline and 6 feet apart.
All right. Tracy, are you amplified?
I think I'm good.
Am I amplified? Let's see. So I go on the host tool.
Cool. All right. Thanks everyone for joining.
There we go.
There we go.
Yes.
This is our first time here. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. This is Startup Grind. It's the first ever Startup Grind in virtual reality. I want to thank everyone for being here. For those folks on the YouTube stream, feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat, and we'll maybe check on that towards the end in the networking portion and come in and say hi. We are super excited to be here with you hanging out today. I'm going to do a little housekeeping, and then we will get started with Tracy. If you could please go ahead and feel free to use the emoji responses when you are as we're doing the talk. But do please put your microphone on mute just in case there's any sort of feedback. So yeah, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on your Wednesday afternoon as we kick off the new year here in February with our fantastic conversation and a speaker who I'm really excited to bring to you. We're real super excited to have a conversation with her today here in VR. Like I said, the first ever Startup Grind event in virtual reality. Startup Grind is in about 600 cities around the world, and this is the first one being conducted in VR, so we're super excited. There's going to be a few hiccups, I'm sure, some tech stumbles, but we're all having a good time. Anyway, my name is Joshua Ness, and I'm the director here at Startup Grind New York City. I'm also a senior manager at Verizon 5G Labs, where I work with startups, academia, and enterprise teams to build a 5G powered world. And Startup Grind is the world's largest community of startups, founders, innovators, and creators, bringing like-minded and diverse individuals together to give startups everywhere the education, opportunities, and access they need to build, grow, and scale their companies. Part of being on the Startup Grind team means having meaningful conversations like this that address certain aspects of building a company and how to deal with that grind that goes along with entrepreneurship. And we also talk to experts about the advancement of technology, as well as exploring barriers to inclusion and how to create opportunities for representation and allyship in the community. At the end of the day, we try to live up to Startup Grind's global values. We believe in making friends and not contacts. We believe in giving and not taking, and we believe in helping others before helping yourself. Having said all that, I would like to turn it over to Tracy. Tracy, go ahead and give us a little bit.
Yeah.
It's so great to have you here in VR. Tell us a little bit about what Voor is and about your role within the company.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So everybody hear me okay, all right? Okay. So I'm gonna tell a little bit of myself too, I have been in the fashion industry for more than 10 years now, from design to merchandising to product development and production. So I've kind of been in, the whole various roles in the pre-consumer side of fashion. And it is really from my frustrations of working in the industry and seeing waste firsthand, because I'm very passionate about sustainability, that I started Voor. And I started Voor about 2 years ago, and at the time, one of my really good friend, matter of fact, she's right there, my interim COO right now, she became SVP of another VR company, and then the question came up was that, can we use VR to push sustainability in fashion, but at the same time also help companies to be more cost effective and efficient? Because when it helps the bottom line, that's how companies will really finally see the value of sustainability, or really get on the boat with sustainability. So right now, even though we started in VR from the very beginning, we started with mobile VR, but because it's such a traditional legacy industry and a lot of people have not heard of VR, we eventually pivoted to a mobile web app. So now we're on a SaaS web app, delivering virtual showrooms to the fashion industry, to fashion brands. And yes, we're B2B. We're strictly B2B. Yeah. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. Should I continue, Josh? What happened?
One sec.
Okay. Oh, okay. So, all right. There is a little glitch, I believe. There's a little bit of technical difficulties. So why don't we wait maybe, like a minute or two, for Josh to come back. I want to give him the, the lead in the conversation. And oh, there he goes in the back.
Sorry about that, folks.
All right. So, Tracy, thank you for that introduction.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, how did we get to where we are right now in the first place? How has the supply chain in fashion traditionally worked up until this point? It went from in my conversations with you, it sounds like not much has changed in the past 100 years, right?
Pretty much. I mean, so it's a whole accumulation of things, right? The fashion industry have kind of always been there, but the industry as a whole didn't become, like an institution, like a notable institution until I guess, like the mid 19th century. And before that, the fashion industry it's all tailors, like any clothing that you need, you go to a tailor and everything is made to order. So every single pieces that you get before that, right? Like it's supposed to be pieces that you value and you're gonna keep it for pretty much the rest of your life. And then of course, like the industrial revolution come, like there's a whole boom in population, and then people, of course, there's a lot more people needed more clothes. And then enter the sewing machine. People were trying to find process innovation to supply clothing to the mass population. And when you are trying to create so many clothing at once, you can't do the tailor method anymore. Like you can't fit every single person individually. So like somewhere along the way, somebody found a way to create clothing based on like the general sizes of the population, and to mass produce it, invented the sewing machine. And with the sewing machine, that's when all the production really fly off the roof. And to be quite honest, like the sewing machine is really the last major disruptive innovation in the fashion industry, and that was back in the it's in the 1800s, but I forgot exactly which year. So if you really think about it, yes, the fashion industry has been operating pretty much the same way once mass production came. And then slowly and slowly, fashion became faster and faster. Mass production, factories in mass production, like slowly reach economies of scale. And then enter, like faster information age. People are able to see pieces on the runway, and then they want it immediately. So then fast fashion came in. Stores like Zara, H&M, Forever 21, they're able to copy the styles right off the runway and sell on the racks, just 2 weeks after. So the peak of fast fashion came about the mid 1990s to like 2000, and the big impact of fast fashion is not only because the clothing are cheap, but it also put in people's mind that like that the clothes are not something that's valuable. It's
Right.
disposable. You can wear it for one season, and then because it's so cheap, you can wear it for one season and you throw it out, and then you wear it next season. You go on and buy something new again. So like, and then it leads to this snowball effect. Like more and more trash get accumulated on the consumer side, but then on the other hand, on the pre-consumer side, and on the production side, there's also a lot of trash involved, with this huge mass production to keep up with fast fashion.
Right.
Yeah.
And you were telling me about how, like, you've seen firsthand entire rooms of buildings in New York City, like floors that cost a lot of money for rent, that are just full of like model clothing, right? It's stuff that's meant for the buyers to sample, and then it either gets stored or thrown away. And it seems like, yeah, on the pre-consumer side, there's a lot of unsustainable practices, and I assume that fast fashion has just exacerbated that issue.
Exactly. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my own experience. My job before my start of Voor, I was working at a $4 billion multinational corporation, and we had 11 floors at the Empire State Building. Now think about that, 11 floors at the Empire State Building. One of the floor, the 5th floor, is just all showrooms. Nobody actually worked there, but it's all showrooms, and every single showroom, it's renovated to, to communicate a theme, like to convey the brand of that particular brand that's, that's occupying that showroom. And then in terms of sampling, because I'm on the pre-production side, of the fashion supply chain, there's so many samples that comes in. My team has a closet. I don't know exactly how big it is, but I'm thinking maybe, maybe 400 square feet, 500 square feet, and it's just all samples. And the sad thing was that all those samples eventually goes to trash, because those are kids' clothing, and a lot of the samples have not been tested. And that's another thing about kids' clothing. You have to, it has to go through very rigorous testing before you can even sell it. So think about this, like prime real estate in the Empire State Building, like one room, that's the size of any New York apartment where people can actually live, was really just for samples. So that was something that's that's from my experience. I see that firsthand. I see the batches of sample coming through me, and with the samples, all the poly bags, every single sample was covered in a poly bag, just to protect the sample. And there's at least 14 stages of sampling before you even get to production. So that was something from my own experience, and that's something that I wanted, to use my expertise and as well as my company right now to reduce, if not eliminate, as a whole. Yeah.
Has the industry tried to transform before? Have there been other attempts to address any of these issues of either the lack of sustainability, either on the pre-consumer side or even on the post-consumer side?
Yeah, so luckily it has, and mostly it's because of a grassroots efforts from the consumer, and because sustainability is such a big topic now, because the buyers, the consumer cares about it, so eventually the brands also has to care about it. But the problem with the whole shift to sustainability in fashion is that there's a lot of focus on the consumer side, which is only part of the puzzle. There's a lot of focus in eco-friendly materials, a lot of focus in recycled materials. Like those type of innovation is necessary. It's absolutely amazing, but at the same time, it's only part of the puzzle. And for the industry to really be truly sustainable, it has to be a whole comprehensive model that looks at the pipeline, as well as the materials that the brands are using, and also some of the processes that that the brand goes through, the whole supply chain, the value chain, and all that.
So when you were in the industry, at one point did you realize that like something had to change? Like when I first met you, you were working at this company, you were working in the Empire State Building, and you seemed like frustrated because all this was going on. Like when was it where you looked around and you were like, oh, this industry that I've chosen is broken? Like was there a singular point where that happened?
I wouldn't say, know, a singular point. It's not like one day I woke up, it's like, oh, I came to an epiphany. But it's a gradual. It's definitely a gradual realization. You know, when I went to fashion school, you know, obviously I wasn't working in the industry and I haven't seen any, you know, like any of the waste firsthand. But you know, and at the time, you know, I'm just like all excited because, you know, like anybody that wanted to work in fashion when they're going to school, they probably have this idea that fashion is very glamorous. But that's really only 10% of the fashion industry, right? You know, the other 90% is just really all sweat. So, you know, fast forward, I graduated, you know, I started to work in some of the jobs, you know, started to, you know, like talk to manufacturers, talking to producers, and then I start to realize, you know, like why do we even need, you know, like all these samples? Why, you know, why do we, you know, like need to do like redundant things? There's a lot of whys from the very beginning. But then before that, I was working mostly for startups, you know, like you know, at some point I was freelancing for Gap. And then I think the real realization came when I also hear a lot of people talking about it, you know, like what it really means to have, you know, to have a sustainable fashion brand. And I start to see that it's a very monotone focus in materials. But given that, you know, like I'm not really focused on the material side of things, I have been in the, you know, like pretty much the whole process. That kind of got me thinking, you know, like why is there only this one like very singular focus in material, and is that really what sustainable fashion is, right? You know, because it's not, because being in the whole supply chain of fashion, being in the whole value chain of fashion, I see all of these complexity. It's so many party coming together, you know, like making just one garment. And I see, you know, of course, you know, yes, material is one of the major pollutants of the environment, but at the same time, you know, people who are not exactly in the pre-consumer side of fashion, they don't see that there's so many traveling, there's so many sending samples back and forth, and every single, you know, sample comes in a poly bag that you throw in the trash, and it just among so many other things. So yes. So that's you know, I gradually just started to see the whole picture.
And is
It's
this
a
when
gradual
you
process.
right? Is this when you had the idea that you could build a solution to some of this?
Yes. So that idea really came about 2 years ago when, you know, my friend Lucy right there became SVP for another VR company. I kind of got
She's the
to
one who did
thinking.
it. Okay.
Wave your hand, Lucy. So it kind of got me thinking. It's kind of like this, right? The Blockbuster and Netflix. Where is the real value of the of, you know, like of the movies? When you used to go to Blockbuster, you rent out the, you know, the tape, the DVD, or whatever you know, whatever. But that tangible piece of DVD or CD, whatever, that's not where the value is. The value is in the movie itself, and that movie is intangibles. So now you come to think about it, in the pre-production side of things, are these samples necessary? Where is the value of these samples? Nobody's wearing these samples. The sample is it's merely used to communicate the style, to communicate the costing, to communicate the different aspect of what it eventually will be when it gets down to the consumer. Yes, that tangible part of the garment will be a value when it gets to the end consumer, but definitely not before the consumer. So with that said, since the value of the samples is not tangible, which means you can digitize it. So that's when, you know, when I thought of can virtual reality be used to communicate that, you know, like these styles, can it be used for merchandising? Can it be used for costing? And without actually having that real sample.
So it was the idea that it was something that only had value to really one or two people and not to the community at large, that you could change the way that we look at that one thing, help that person to make good decisions, and then the production process could continue on as normal. What was it like as you were building that when you were still within the broken system? Was that frustrating that you every day you were like, I have a solution for this. I just need to like, I'm so close to like getting it fixed.
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah, it was. I met with a lot of resistance in the beginning, and given the fashion industry was so traditional, people are so used to doing things the same way that they've been doing for the past a decade, which I don't blame them. You know, people are resistant to change, even when they see that the value is there, that this could be a much more efficient and effective way of doing things. For whatever reason, their mind just cannot wrap around it, because now they have to completely unlearn the old ways of doing things to learn a new way. And I think part of it was also because they're so conditioned, you know, and they're so, how should I say it? The fashion industry in itself is very complex. There's so many parties involved, and all of these parties, from the supply chain or even teams within the company, are very siloed. So even if one team or one person wanted to embrace it, they don't know whether or not another corresponding team it's gonna get on the train with them.
Right.
Yeah. I literally have we spoke with the design team, and they were interested. You know, that was a long time ago when we were still on the VR. And but then the response was like, oh, you know, like the technical design team, we don't exactly talk to them, and I don't think they might like this because, you know, they would think that this is taking the jobs away. So that went nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that too, you know, like that's also another thought that people have, you know, it's technology is there to replace them, and it's not.
Right. Right. And well, I mean, technology it does destroy jobs, and but it also creates new ones too, and it allows people to either to adapt their skills to more sustainable, more efficient, and more sometimes more friendly type methods of working. So what was, as you were building up momentum, like what happened was there something that happened where you were like, this is now something I'm doing full time, and you decided to leave the quote unquote, you know, cushiness of working in a job at the Empire State Building, and you were like, nope, I'm going to start grinding it out on my own with a startup? Like, what was that like?
It was, for me, to be quite honest, you know, like it was kind of an easy decision, because I knew that this is where it's going, and I have gotten a lot of support, you know, like from a lot of people, and mainly from my family, and I'm very grateful for that. I don't think a lot of people out there can, you know, like can say the same. So I'm, you know, definitely an opportunity that I would not want to miss. And at the same time, this is actually my second startup. Well, the first one failed horribly when I was still in San Francisco, but that's a story for another time. So starting a startup is not really just starting a company, right? You're also building your own brand up. So worst case scenario, I tell myself, worst case scenario, I can still find a job. You know, you can always go back to a job, but then, you know, like a lot of times, there's only once in a lifetime chance for you to really do something, for you to really start something. And especially right now, when the whole fashion industry is literally going through a major shift, this is the time.
Right.
So that was my thinking. Yep.
Time to get on the train, right? It's leaving the station either way. You gotta get on there with it, or be the train, right?
Be the train.
Be the train. That's your hashtag, everybody. Be the train.
Be the train.
Be the train. So how do you go about, now that you have this solution and it's something that works, how do you go about selling it into these legacy industries? Because now you're on the other side of it, and so how do you go about getting customers on board and making sure that you're providing something that's useful. Because I think there's probably some people out here in the audience who are working in disruptive solutions and disruptive technologies, and they're trying to go into industries that ceteris paribus are fine the way they are. And like you said, there are teams that are motivated to stay in the inefficient system because that's what everybody else uses. And so how do you go into, and I'm sure there's a lot of folks that are like that. So how do you approach that conversation? How do you say, how do you come to them, and how does that conversation start? And like, where do you see that picks up momentum to where you can start getting towards a conversion?
Yeah, so to be quite honest, right now we're still working at that. We have the interest. There is actually a lot of interest, but because we are B2B, and a lot of times, it's also about de-risking for these companies, because especially in fashion, the cycles are very tight. You go from spring and then fall, and then all over again spring and then fall. Fashion is a low margin type of industry. A lot of the companies, especially after the pandemic, they couldn't survive. So risk is a major factor for these companies. There's also a lot of education involved, telling people that yes, virtual showrooms, virtual reality, digital fashion, it's not to replace the touch and feel. One of the major questions that we get is that, oh, what about the touch and feel of the fabric? It seems to me that a lot of people keep thinking that because now that it's going digital, now they can't touch and feel the fabric, but that's not true. You can still touch and feel the fabric. If the buyer look at the styles and they decided that this is the style that they want to buy, of course they can still request for one final sample, instead of you making all the samples, and even multiple samples for the whole collection first, and then have to show it to the buyer. Eventually maybe 60% of the whole collection eventually get canceled. Now a lot of those samples, time and cost into those samples are wasted. So a lot of education, a lot of de-risking, a lot of really talking to people, understanding exactly what and how their business operates, and finding that parallel, finding that synergy to fit into their business. So yes. But on the other hand, go ahead.
No, please.
Yeah. But on the other hand, we are also talking to new designers and new brands, and try to educate them that the future of fashion is going to be digital, and it would even be better if they produce on demand. Digital plus on demand will be the ideal fashion business model for the future. So yes,
and that kind of gets
lots of education.
That gets to my other question, which is, do you see, or where do you see virtual or these fully digital solutions beginning to provide value either further down the chain in fashion or maybe even in adjacent industries? We've already seen the potential for there's the VR company called Garou. They're French, and we've worked with them at the 5G labs, and they are creating experiences where you can go and you can sit inside a vehicle, and it's like photorealistic. It's like you're there. You can see the grain of the leather, and this is to help reduce the barrier for buying decisions for major purchases, like a vehicle. And so, are there other areas in the fashion chain, or other adjacent areas where you see digital solutions, or maybe even fully virtual solutions, like you're talking about with Voor, providing that kind of value and being able to reshape those industries?
Yeah, definitely. So we focus on the pre-consumer side of fashion, but I know digital fashion has been sweeping across the consumer side of fashion. And now that people can buy digital clothing, a lot of the marketers and influencers are buying digital clothing to use it for their marketing needs. They no longer need to go to a showroom or to message a brand and borrow the clothing and then actually set up a photographer, set up models. or go on location to do photo shoots to create the content. Now, content creators can buy digital clothing and have that digital clothing overlaid onto whatever content that they're creating. And this is something that's been transforming the marketing side of the fashion industry as well. Technical difficulties. I'm sure we all experienced it. Let's wait 1 minute and see if Josh comes back alive, and then maybe I can take some questions if he doesn't come back alive. This is what happens in virtual reality.
Does anybody want to ask a question? You guys could click the emoji sign and raise your hand, the raise a hand emoji.
Yeah, Zalen, right? Is that
Zalen.
Go ahead. Zalen.
Yeah, so I think another thing that it just fits into the whole picture when it comes to digital versus in person is the nature of international fashion these days. And if you go back to your timeline that you set from the sewing machine to now, a couple other blips in there in sort of the globalized world.
Mm-hmm.
There's absolutely like so many different ways that there are savings. Do you see one of those big, like when you like maybe to picture this to a brand who's like, I don't know, and you're like, well, what if you could have your samples, quote unquote, in like an hour instead of 3 FedEx business days and $1,500 later?
Ding ding ding! You're absolutely right. You are absolutely correct on that one. Internationalization, also democratizing fashion for underrepresented areas, and that's actually one of the other mission that we have. And because we are also lowering time and cost, we can also democratize fashion talent, creative talent from other areas that's not normally in the US and Europe, which is the 2 areas that has always dominated fashion. And if you're a brand in fashion, for you to really get in the scene and have your name and your brand be on the radar is to participate in trade shows here in the US or in Europe. And these trade shows are very costly, even sometimes for new designers and new brands here in the US, $8,000 for the magic, and plus all the logistical costs with it is not something that we can, people can just hop on. So with that said, it doesn't mean there's no fashion talents in Indonesia or Philippines or some other, like some other, like more developing up and coming areas. There are. It's just that they can't participate because of the cost. So that's definitely, you're absolutely right on that.
Very cool. Yeah, I appreciate you jumping to Q&A. For some reason the headset like went black on me. I had to reset the whole thing. Yeah, this was about the time to jump into either any Q&A for Tracy, or this is the time we welcome you to come off mute, turn on your amplify button so everyone can hear you, and let us know what you're working on and maybe how the community can help. Yeah, Taco Queen, go ahead.
Oh, hi.
Hey.
So I just wanted to ask you what you've seen in the. I'm sorry, my cat just grabbed the string from my little hand controller.
A cat problem. I love it.
Yes, I have cat problems. I was just going to ask you, how have the companies that you've been speaking with, that you've been kind of wanting to work with, How have they been responding so far? Have you been seeing like good feedback? Do you feel like they're ready to start being more sustainable as far as and I know you said they're kind of like looking to see if other companies are doing it, but do you feel like that they're ready, or do you feel like it's still going to be a long time before they're kind of able to submit into the digital world?
Yeah, so the smaller company that we spoke with, they are ready. They wanted to try it out. They wanted to use it. They they're they all, they embrace digital and they know this is the future of fashion. On the other hand, the bigger companies that we speak with, the more traditional companies that's been in operations for some time now, they're more reluctant because a lot of these companies they still have a lot of uncertainties. And because of the whole pandemic, some of these companies are really still in damage control. They are left with a surplus of inventories they can't sell, and there's actually, believe it or not, there's still containers outside, the dock of, by LA in the waters. They can't dock, they can't unload. They can't go, like bring the stuff to the warehouse. So there's like a massive amount of inventories that people can sell. And the companies who have been operating for some time, some of them really is still in damage control and trying to figure out how to get rid of these before they can even hop on to, like to new technologies. But they are definitely looking at it and thinking about it. Some of the bigger brands. Oh, sorry. And some of the bigger brands, we spoke with Crocs, we spoke with Perry Ellis, we spoke with MGM Worldwide. They are exploring, quote unquote, exploring. I think they have some cash to burn, so they're not in that urgency for survival, so they are exploring.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, anybody have a quick 30-second snippet of what you're working on in the community and how Tracy or myself or anyone else here in the room might be able to help? Anybody working on a startup? Anybody need a job?
I see Scott nodding his head.
Yeah. Zalman, what about you? Go ahead and get on Amplify and let us know.
So just as another piece to the puzzle, to paint the picture of sustainable apparel in the world of a fully circular fashion industry. I work specifically on textile materials recycling. So I do like you're mentioning the importance of those textiles, but honestly, businesses like mine need your genius to transform the entire industry from the design perspective, because that makes my job easier. So I really appreciate the stuff you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and I really don't believe, one type of technology or one company is going to transform the industry. It needs to be a whole group coming together, each of us taking care of, a small part of the industry, because the industry is huge. It's a $2.4 trillion industry.
Oh my God.
Each of us, yeah, when we talk to investors, they're like, oh, like if you okay? Yeah. When we talk to investors,
that wasn't my cat. I just knocked my phone off the stand. It's fine.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the funny thing was that when we talk to investors, they're like, "Oh, if you're in a multi-billion-dollar industry, then they will definitely take a look." And I'm just like, "How about $2.4 trillion?" But yes, it's a huge industry, and everybody has to contribute their their innovative solution to this whole problem, this whole issue. Yeah.
Yeesh, it's an industry ripe for disruption, and I think there's probably a lot of money to be made.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you see, and this is just a shameless plug for myself, do you see advanced connectivity like 5G having any sort of impact on that, especially as it starts to bring down 5G mixed with things like edge compute begins to bring down the form factor of headsets like this? Do you see the adoption becoming easier?
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. So earlier I mentioned about on-demand production, and that's where one of our partners is in. And to really achieve on-demand, okay, so the big problem with the factories right now, they are already built to economies of scale. They are huge, but then on-demand, it's the other way around. So they have to reverse engineer and probably chop up the production line to be a lot more responsive. And with 5G, that's where the responsiveness is going to come into.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I did have some talk with some, like quite a few people in the on-demand production area, and it's still something that the like the production of the manufacturing side of the fashion industry is trying to figure out. Some has it figured it out somewhat, but of course, it's an ongoing process to really refine the process and to like make it better. But yes, 5G will help. Mm-hmm.
Huh. That is good to know.
Very good to know, right?
Yeah. Anyone else got a community shout out or a plug or anything?
I am surprised everyone's so quiet here, even though we're not actually, in person. Oh, Vanessa.
Yep. Hey, again. So yeah, I was just gonna, I guess, talk about sort of like what my plans are, what I sort of want to do with VR, because obviously it's just obviously the future. And so I've been working on developing skills in the different software programs that I need to start building things in VR. And eventually I would like to move my my skills into retail industry. And fashion is something that it's fascinating to me, and I really like fashion, but I don't live in that world and I'm not familiar with it really, like very, very little experience, if any at all, in the fashion industry. And so I guess I'm curious what you would have to say, or I guess what advice you could maybe give for something like that. Like, how long do you think it would be before retail fashion would be moved into VR?
It's gonna be quick. This is just me coming from me. I am thinking maybe 2 years at most. I know Apple just invested heavily into VR, and of course, Facebook is going to continue to lower the price of the Oculus, and we already saw that, with just a slight $100 price drop in the Oculus, all of a sudden, so many people have Oculus now.
Yeah.
With more adoption, which means the population and the attention in VR, it's also gonna grow exponentially, and especially for fashion, if you're on the marketing side, on the retail side, you will go where you can find a voice, where you can find your customers. So this is gonna be quick. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think a lot of some of the retailers and brands are already doing it. So I'm also in Sensor, which is another social VR application in VR. And well, that one you have to either tether your Oculus to a gaming laptop, or you have to have one of those high-powered VR headset like the Oculus Hive, or the HTC. But then when I was in Sensor, Levi's collaborated with Hello Kitty, and you can actually buy Levi's clothing for your avatar in Sensor.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's really
and
cool.
I know it's really cool, and I know Louis Vuitton also partnered with League of Legends, and you can buy Louis Vuitton skins for your gaming avatar. So that's the other side, where
Yeah.
fashion, it's going gaming as well.
Yeah.
Do you
and
see
with gaming as well? I think gaming and fashion are starting to have this merger. My team in Los Angeles works with a full professional gaming crew called Dignitas, and they are starting to make their merchandise available in the virtual world. And so they're creating, I think it's VR and AR shopping experiences where you can purchase Dignitas ball caps and jackets and T-shirts in the virtual space, and make that purchase, make that the point of sale right there in the virtual space, which I think is actually which is super cool.
It's very cool. Yeah. I think Salem had a question earlier. Oh, you sound muffled. You sound like you're underwater.
How's that?
Let's see. Better, I think. Oh, much better.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. It's such a great opportunity to be in VR, talking about VR stuff, and I know I've intersected a little bit. I don't want to take some other thank you or thunder here, but Roberto, who's here with us, is just, and the Conan VR stuff has been awesome. You know, just to interface with him, and it's a next level style of interaction, and anyone who's on YouTube is missing out, because I wouldn't imagine that this wouldn't be twice as big or 3 times big or 100 times as big in the coming months. So it's really cool to see these communities come together here. So that's my little shout out to my man Roberto.
Nice. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I guess we'll use this as the time to do our thank yous. On that same note, like yes, Roberto over here, if you have not had a chance to speak with him about his company Conan VR, you can see the logo there on the wall towards the back of the room. Roberto and Conan VR are the ones who set this whole thing up for us, created the group, created the event, created all of the stuff you see on the walls and things like this, all the branding. And so really do hats off to this guy. Thank you so much to him and his team for making all this possible. This is like the small end of what he does. He does things in trade shows and conferences. You dream it up. He can create the space for people to come together, to network, to engage with each other. And even as the world moves toward a hybrid event model where there's a mix of in-person and a mix of virtual, people like Roberto and Conan are going to be at the forefront of that. So it's a really exciting time to be in that. So very much thank you. Hats off to this gentleman and his team right here. Thank you to Tracy for being here, for having such a candid conversation about what it is you're doing and about the industry, about how it's changing and how you're helping to change it for the better. Tracy and I were sitting at Bryant Park in New York City on a December day. We were at the holiday market, just kind of walking around, having lunch, and we had this idea of having a startup brand event in VR, which sounded almost like a pipe dream there, but we brought it together in just a couple of months. So I think it's really cool that we were able to do that with Roberto's help. So, and thank you to everybody who was here in the virtual space. Getting into the space is still a little clunky with the exchange of emails and things like that, but now we're here, and as you continue to be a part of the Startup Grind group in Altspace, we're going to have more of these, whether or not it's full-on events like with a guest like this, or whether it's maybe regular networking events where we can all get to know each other a little better. So thank you so much for being part of this. Thank you so much for dealing with any of the speed bumps and being here. And thank you to everybody else there on YouTube who's hanging out. I think I got a notification that it went quiet there for a little bit. I think that was because I shut my laptop and the Creator Studio, the channel stopped transmitting sound, but I think that all got fixed. So hopefully all the folks on YouTube have been able to hear all this and get some value out of this, and we'll continue to do these and make that process a little more simple. Please do feel free to head back into the lobby area. If you didn't get a chance to meet everybody, please do feel free to continue networking. We're going to keep the room open for another 20 minutes or so before we all start getting hungry and ready for dinner. But yeah, this is our show. Tracy, any parting words?
No, I mean, I'm just actually thinking maybe we should take a photo here. You know, it's the first one in VR. You can actually take photos and say,
yeah. Can we either down here or
should we all come up to stage?
Well, we have to change the settings.
Everybody can go on stage now.
I don't know if we can do that quickly. Roberto, can we do that quickly?
Yeah. Yeah, if everybody can jump on stage. If anybody's on PC, if you just click F, you'll see a little what are they called? Little rainbow pointer that'll tell you where you're gonna jump to. Yes, there you go. All right, I'll get you guys in the picture right here.
Come.
Thank you, Roberto. And then you got to come in here so
Oh,
we can do a
yay.
selfie.
Oh. Why is
Okay,
Bex
ready, guys?
standing there? Come.
Okay, there's too many people in the center, so if you guys could just spread out a little bit, that's
Spread out a little bit.
good. Let me get a nice angled picture. Yes. Now everybody with hands, throw your hands up. Yeah. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hold on. There you go. 1, 2, 3. Awesome.
Love it.
That's great. Yeah.
Yay. Thank you. Oh.
Well, thanks everyone. We'll see you in the lobby. Thank you, Roberto.
Yeah. Thank you, Roberto. Oh, you missed the photo. You glitched. Oh, he glitched again.
Who's glitching?
He did. But, all right. Let's see. Wendy, I know it's you. You're on your computer, right? I think if you click unmute on the dial on the
Tracy, if you click can you click
Yep.
to release your amplify?
Got it.
Cool.
All right. Cool. Hey, Wendy. Oh, I guess you can't speak, but thanks for coming. All right, let's head out over there and network. You glitched earlier, huh? When we took the photo. Oh. Oh.
How's it going? Do you want to go over there? I'm over there on the stage right here. Backtrap over here. Hey, look, right here. The little trap over there. Go over there, right there. Guys, go up on there. Go right there. Yeah. Get one right now. And nice backdrop. Guys, why don't you guys get up on there? Yeah, this is what hit. I'll come closer. This is pretty cool backdrop here.